Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Collider Games podcast. My name is Dennis Tzeng. I'm talking through Skype with
Josh Weyers
in South Africa.
That's right.
Yeah, we
Different
haven't done
time zone.
Yeah, and we haven't done this in a month. A lot has changed. The last episode that we did was right when the coronavirus was starting to get big in the United States, but it hadn't started yet. It was and I was still at the, if you can see, I'm not at the office anymore. I worked out of the office, for I think almost 2 weeks, and then once the lockdown came in place, I got to bring all my stuff back home, and then it's just been kind of craziness since. How are things over in South Africa in terms of lockdown? Because we had a conversation before, and things were not like this at that time.
I mean, to be fair, the last podcast we did, I don't think we even put it on the on YouTube. I think it was too depressing. I don't know if we did that last one, but I mean, we were supposed to go out of lockdown today. Today is our 5th week. Yesterday would have been our 5th week of overall weeks of lockdown, but our government has decided to phase us out in stages. So actual lockdown being stage 5, we've now moved from stage 5 to stage 4. And all that really means is that now we're allowed to do exercise outside of the house. So we can go running and jogging from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. They did put a curfew in place, so no one can leave their house after 8 p.m. But with level 4 lockdown, a lot of people are able to go back to work. Retail stores have opened up because
Really?
Well, it's winter time, and a lot of our population needs bedding and winter clothes. You know what I mean? Just to be able to make it through the winter. So they're only allowed to sell winter clothes. Therefore, the factory workers have gone back too, which is good. Computer sales are now available because obviously people are working from home. So they've deemed computer sales an essential service, which is nice. So I can finally get my gaming setup going so I can start streaming again. But other than that, it's been fairly good for me. It worked out quite well for me because, as you know, when I left LA, I was planning to take a break this year. So this kind of lined up with me taking a break anyways, just from LA, because it can get pretty busy and crazy there. I'm sure you know.
Yeah.
Been getting a little stir crazy, but I've been keeping myself busy. I'm so grateful to be a gamer because it's so easy to just hop online and talk to someone, you know what I mean, and just play video games with a stranger. I think we're very lucky in that regard. I feel bad for the people who are stuck at home rewatching the same Netflix movie, So at least we have a community, which is good.
Yeah, I mean, I have to admit, I'm still working from home, though obviously a lot differently now because we're not allowed to shoot anything. We can't go to the studio. We're not shooting anything, but there's still editing and whatnot to be done. So I'm doing that from home. In terms of off time, a lot of Netflix, Amazon Prime, HBO, all that good stuff. But then game playing, we'll be talking about it later. I've been playing a lot of Fallout 76 Wastelanders. I was trying to play because I want to, and we'll talk about this later as well. I was trying to finish up my Last of Us. I finally got past the part that
the part that your controller keeps freaking out at.
Yeah.
I've been beneficial. I'm beneficial. That's not the right word. I've been lucky as well. Whereas a lot of people can't work. I know people like you can work from home. I've been doing voiceovers from home, but I've been using a digital microphone, which is it's a pretty good digital microphone. But ideally, I would never use a digital microphone for voiceover work. And I'm so upset because I have my recording interface, I have my condenser mic, I have everything I need to be able to do high quality voiceovers, except I'm missing the freaking mic cable. And obviously music stores aren't going to be open for a long time. And there's here in South Africa, the only deliveries that are allowed are essential deliveries like groceries and stuff like that. So I can't even get the microphone cable delivered to me.
That sucks.
That does suck. But the nice thing is people have been very understanding of the situation, and I've still been able to get work and get paid, even though I'm using a digital microphone. It just means I have to do a lot of cleaning up with the audio afterwards,
It's interesting. Yeah. Because I guess, when you mentioned getting bedding and computer equipment, all that stuff, luckily for us here in the States,
still Amazon's
almost every, like, honestly, like, I'm getting all my groceries through delivery. I'm getting all my any type of like small equipment stuff that I need. Obviously, there's certain things that you can't get, but you can get like 90 to 95% of the stuff that you want to
Yeah.
get, especially now, because when we first started, like, it was really hard to get like groceries delivered. Like, we were
Mm.
like going to the grocery store in masks and gloves to like get stuff, but like, there was like, you had to wait in line and you had to social distance, and it was weird going to like Trader Joe's and seeing the people working there not wearing masks and gloves. I don't know if they are
Oh
now because I
man,
haven't been.
I don't think I told you this. I don't think I said this on. It's been a lot of stuff's changed, but the biggest thing is we banned the sale of cigarettes and alcohol. I don't know if I mentioned that last time.
Oh no, you did not, dude.
Yeah, so
Have you seen
people
what
are
people
losing
have
their
you have you
mind.
have you seen what people are protesting over here in
Oh yeah.
America? Like the ridiculousness, like they can't get a haircut, big effing deal. They can't. I saw an interview with those protesters in Michigan about like, oh, I can't get paint, I can't get fertilizer. Like, what the hell are you doing? Now, cigarettes and alcohol, that that's something like I can understand why people would get upset about, because that's something like, first of all, like, I used to be a smoker, I'm not a smoker anymore, but I understand the addiction, the craving, and
Oh yeah.
and having that available. And alcohol, I used to drink a lot. I still drink, but very infrequently now, so I understand that. But in terms of like the stuff like people complain about over here, it's ridiculous.
We had to change the law today because obviously all the liquor stores are closed. There's been a lot of looting. A lot of people have been looting the liquor stores and stuff like that. But most people are making pineapple beer or they're making their own beer at home. So the government had to put out a statement saying, look, you guys are more than welcome to make your own alcohol. We can't stop you, but the alcohol has to be consumed in your private home by yourself. If you get caught selling the alcohol or even just giving the alcohol away to someone else, you will be fined heavily or jail time. So
Hmm.
like
That's
that's
fun.
been interesting. It's
Yeah.
been also so difficult to get yeast anywhere because everyone's baking
Yeah,
bread,
everyone's
man.
making. Yeah, oh, we've been
Everyone.
trying. Yeah, we've been trying to get some like baking products, and it's like all everything, even on Amazon, takes forever. Everyone's, anything that has anything to do with cooking or baking or anything like
Oh
that,
yeah,
it's all
sold out,
gone.
man.
But then,
Yeah.
like back to video games.
I
Video
was, I was
games,
about to say,
yeah,
let's
the
segue
video
here.
games is the industry that hasn't been totally. I mean, it's been affected, but probably like the least affected industry out of all of them. Games are still releasing because you don't have to. I mean, obviously, not everyone has like super fast internet, but a good portion do, and you can just buy these games digitally that were already planned to be released, that were ready to be released. People playing online, which is the same as normal, just being at their house. Like, not a lot has changed for the video game industry. Obviously, some of the things like E3 we can't have and whatnot, but people like our main topic today, talking about Assassin's Creed Valhalla. They made that big announcement online, no big
Oh
deal.
yeah.
Everyone's raving about it and talking about it. Like, the dissemination of that information, it was always going to be online anyway. So yeah, so let's get into it. First one, the
Hell yeah.
big the big thing that I'm excited about, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which is focused on the Vikings, Norse mythology. They released a cinematic trailer. They released some screenshots. They released a lot of details. This is coming off of the both financially and critically successful Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which was based on the Greek history and Greek mythology, which I never finished it, but I did play, I think probably like 10, 12 hours of that. I still want to finish. I remember the games being gorgeous, and that was kind of the
Mm.
first Assassin's Creed. Obviously, they've had these other Assassin's Creeds where they've kind of like bent the thing where it's like, okay, now it's in France, and what Assassin's Creed Odyssey was the first one where like, look, the Assassin's Creed part is very thinly connected to it, right? And this is just another step in that where it's a historical thing. They're just using Assassin's Creed, the name, to sell it, but really it's a kind of a different game, right?
Yeah, I mean, and also they've been working on this for a while. It's being developed by Ubisoft Montreal, who did Assassin's Creed 4, Black Flag, and as well as Origins. Now, looking back at Black Flag, I haven't played that game since it came out, but I remember there being a section where you're walking through Abstergo. I hope I'm saying that right. I think it's Abstergo, the company, and you're actually seeing the different things, and you are stationed to go and do the pirate section. But you can see they like talk about the previous successes they've had. And if I remember correctly, I remember seeing something akin to Vikings in the background. I was like, oh, that would be cool if they did that. You know, like I thought that like 7 years ago or six years ago, and here they are. They did it. I mean, it's phenomenal. They've been working on this for a while, as far as I can tell. I think back when they were still working on Odyssey, they were working on this as well. The trailer looks great. I'm curious as to see what it's going to look like on next gen consoles, because it seems like it's going to be a next gen release. Obviously, it'll be released on PS4 and Xbox One, but they're planning for it to be like the flagship game for their for the next gen. You know what I mean? It's some people thought it was going to be an Xbox exclusive because it showed the Xbox logo at the end, but that's just people being stupid and not researching. It's going to be out on all systems.
No, I mean there's no financial gain for them unless Xbox is going to play
Of course.
exclusive rights, which are, which would be too costly and not as much of a benefit for them for something like this. I mean, other than buying Ubisoft outright, which they Ubisoft is a much bigger company, unlike Obsidian,
Yeah.
so it's very highly unlikely. So yeah, it's going to be for both systems, next gen consoles. That was the thing they announced. It's going to come out in end of 2020. They released the cinematic trailer. I thought that cinematic trailer was very cool. I mean, obviously not gameplay footage. Obviously reminds me of the Vikings television series.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, it's just very cinematic. But then, did you check out the screenshots?
Oh yeah, I'm literally staring at them right now. The screenshots look real. Like it does. It looks like it's straight out of something from HBO Vikings as well.
It looks more colorful than I had imagined. I thought it would be a little.
The world
darker.
is very vibrant.
Yes.
It's very like bright. The world. So there's a couple things. Okay, I will say this. The first thing after doing my research that I'm the most excited about is that you have the settlement that you keep getting to. It's the place that you start the game in. It's your home, and apparently you're able to like help it grow and change over time, depending on the decisions you make or whatever. But the thing that I'm most excited about is that they say that you keep coming back to your settlement, which is nice because having played Odyssey, and I'm still currently playing Odyssey right now, it's such a big game that it's easy to get lost in it. You don't really have a grounding place. So it'll be nice. It's just going to be nice to have like a home base in a game that's probably going to be huge. You know what I mean? And like, it's so like there's like Assassin's Creed Odyssey is such a big game that I'm still to this day finding new things. You know what I mean? Like that map is so giant and huge that there are times where I had to stop playing because I was just like, what am I doing? There's so much going on. I don't even know what's going on anymore. I'm following so many different plot lines. So it'll be nice to have like that settlement to keep going back to ground me, to not feel as lost in my mind as I'm like playing the game around. It looks vibrant. It looks like they put a big emphasis on pillaging because they say that you'll be able to see the fortresses from your ship. So they have this, it seems that they have to have this, they're kind of pushing this whole thing of like, you have your ship, you see the fortress, you stop, you go and rape and pillage and plunder, and you get back in your ship and you move on to the next one, which is what Vikings did. Yeah, story-wise, it looks great. The developers don't want to talk about the mythology around it because they say it's a big spoiler or plot twist. Like, having played Odyssey, they put a lot of Greek mythology in there, like you said, which I thought was very enjoyable. They kind of mixed it in with the real-world system. So I'm curious, and I love Norse mythology, so I'm curious as to see what they're going to do there. Because also, I could see that Thor is in one of the trailers, but he kind of looks like an assassin. Like, he doesn't look like a god, you know what I mean? He's like all cloaked up like an assassin, and he's smaller, he's not as big. So maybe they made these like mythological people real people, and they're just like big figures in the era, and they were like spoken of as gods. Who knows? I don't know what angle they're going to go with, but it seems very exciting. gameplay wise, there's so much to talk about gameplay wise, obviously. It seems like most of the game is set in England during not the 9th century, and I'm excited about this because I'm a bit of not a huge history buff, but one of my favorite things is the conflict between the Vikings and the English. Specifically, I watched this anime called Vinland Saga, which if you've watched it, hell yeah. If you haven't, watch it. And they actually speak a lot about the conflict between England and the Vikings. So it's going to be nice to be able to play that out in a video game. I'm really excited about that. They seem to be saying that there's going to be your main antagonist and your main protagonist of the game aren't going to be as surface level as you think. They're obviously going to have a depth to them. Like your Viking protagonist isn't just going to be like, murder, kill, he'll have some kind of character depth, which is nice. Same with the villain as well. It seems like you'll be able to dual wield, judging from the trailers, like you see the guy with 2 axes. So I'm going to
I read you can.
Yeah, and then they're bringing throwing axes into it, which is that's just going to be amazing.
They're bringing shields back.
Which made no sense to me that you couldn't use a shield in Assassin's Creed Odyssey when everyone you fight has a freaking shield, and like most of the gameplay, most of the like fighting mechanics is you trying to get rid of their shield so you can kill them. I was like, why don't I have a shield? So that never made sense to me. So that's going to be interesting. I want to see where the gameplay is going to go. They say it's going to be like you could chop people's limbs off, and you're going to like feel. You're going to feel the impact of each strike, which I'm looking forward to. I kind of felt like that with Odyssey, but if they can push the limit, that'd be even more exciting. Is there anything I'm missing here? That was just off of like the things that stood out for me. Yeah. Oh my gosh. How do you feel about the new Assassin's Creed Blade? Because it's now coming out the top rather than the bottom.
Yeah. I mean, it was a cool thing in the trailer to reveal it, the way they did it. Also, our boy Boss Logic was a big part of the reveal of this. They did a live stream where he created, he showed, he has a time lapse of him creating this artwork for Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and I think they're using it, if I'm not mistaken, for like one of the Steelbook collector's editions. So I thought that was really cool. So shout out to Boss Logic. Yeah, I mean, the game...
go for it.
No, I was just going to say the game just looks like all the kind of stuff that you would want from something that's focused on the subject of Vikings.
Wow, it's set for a holiday 2020 release. They wanted to come out this year. That's amazing.
They wanted to come out so they could...
Yeah.
So there's another part I want to talk about is... So obviously with the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5 coming out this holiday.
Smart delivery. What is the smart delivery?
So that means that if you buy the game on Xbox One, let's say for me right now, we know Xbox Series X is not going to have any exclusive Xbox Series X games. So a lot of people like myself may not buy it right out of the gate and may buy Xbox Series X later. You can buy it on Xbox One, and guess what? You'll have it for Xbox Series X once you upgrade to Xbox Series X. So you don't have to buy it twice.
That's great. Great.
It's just more incentive to buy it. I think if I remember correctly, Cyberpunk 2077 is doing the same thing. For Xbox. I'm not sure. I don't think Sony has the same deal. At least they haven't mentioned it. So
hopefully they do, because it's like I know with Sony there was like a lot of the digital games on Sony. Those are usually like if I buy myself a digital only game on the PS4, it works on PS3 and PSP. Or like not all titles, but like a lot of most indie games are like that. Like if I owned it on PSP, I owned it on PS3 and PS4. Most digital only games work like that. So I could see them. If they're smart, they'll do that. But I mean, mind you, we'll talk about it later. But it seems like the PS5 is going to have some issues anyways. So we'll see. Couple other things to mention is obviously, because if you've played Assassin's Creed Odyssey, the bird mechanic was like a huge part of the game.
Yeah.
So you're bringing back the bird. You've got a raven because it's a big part of the gameplay. Obviously, your ship combat is ever since Black Flag, they knew that ship combat was going to be the way to go as like an extra thing. So that's in there. Really enjoy it that much on Odyssey, but this is from the people who made Black Flag, and I preferred it on Black Flag, so hopefully it'll be like that. I was going to say something else. Oh yeah, like the previous game, you can choose to be male or female, and both characters are canon to the story, which I think is like the way that you can choose to be a guy or a girl in Odyssey. I really enjoyed because you're playing a brother and a sister, and you end up bumping into. If you're the guy, you're going to bump into your sister. If you're the girl, you're going to bump into your brother. So I hope they do something similar with that, where they kind of intertwine the story with the two. And it seems like there's going to be a lot of customization. Like you can customize for the first time, as far as I'm aware, in like a main Assassin's Creed game, you can actually customize your character, like their beards, their tattoos, and everything like that. You know, they said they're pushing a big push on the. They're really pushing customization on which is really cool. I'm looking forward to that. Let's see, am I missing anything else here? I mean, those are the things. Yeah. Here, the hair, tattoos, clothing, war paint. Those are the things that I love customization in any kind of video game. So I'm looking forward to that the most for sure. Oh yes, there is one thing I wanted to bring up. Before I talk about the Viking battle raps, which I'll get to in a second, I enjoyed the fact that they added hunting, fishing, dice games, and drinking games, because in any kind of RPG, even those are like kind of like small things that some people wouldn't really care about. For me, that really makes the game so much more immersive. Red Dead Redemption 2, being able to go to a bar and play drinking games, you know what I mean? Play Russian roulette, play anything. That really made the immersion so much more. Having Gwent in The Witcher put so much more immersion in the game for me. The fact that there's a card game people play. So I'm looking forward to. I also really, I know I've said this to you before, I really enjoy a good fishing mechanic in a game. I've been a big fan of fishing mechanics in a game. Maybe it's because I fish in real life. Hunting has always been a mechanic, but I'm looking forward to the dice and drinking games. And they've brought this thing, Viking rap battles, which in the game it's called flighting, which comes from the Old English word to quarrel, and essentially it's just like a roast battle. Like it's an insult like competition, who can insult the other person the best, which is that's fantastic. I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be pretty interesting. Yeah.
So it's a day one launch for both the Xbox Series X and PS5. The problem is no one has those actual dates yet of when they're going to be released, and with all this coronavirus stuff, we don't know what's being pushed back, for whatever reasons. So, but basically that means it's ready. Like, not like completely done, but it's like it's far enough along where they can confidently say it'll be ready at that time. So
I would go as far as to say that I think we're going to get a lot more gameplay trailers in like the next week or two. I think we're going to see a lot of gameplay trailers in the coming weeks, because they got to be. And like I said, they've been working on this for years, from what I can tell. Because people have been speculating this game for years now, which means that they must have been like working on it for years to put all those things out. Going back to the map itself, obviously, because you're Vikings, the map's going to include Norway. But like I said, the main part is England. 4 main kingdoms of England: Wessex, Northumbria, East Anglia, and Mercia. I hope I'm pronouncing that last one right. It looks good. I'm super excited for this. Maybe it's because of me playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey right now, but I'm very, very much excited for this.
Yeah.
And I'm on that Assassin's Creed train right now. So yeah.
Cool.
Surprised that it's coming out this year. I'm very surprised it's coming out this year.
Yeah, but I'm glad that they're taking this like longer approach, because remember, Assassin's Creed Odyssey was 2 years ago, and then this year, if it comes out this holiday, that means it's been 2 years since then, instead of that yearly Call of Duty schedule, right? That Assassin's Creed used to have, where they were rushing out this and making every game, no, obviously not exactly the same, but you know what I mean? Very similar, where now it's like, wow, this is a whole new world, a whole new setting, a whole different look. than both Odyssey and the previous Assassin's Creed. So I think that's very cool. Where I think it's the right move, right? We've learned over
for sure,
the past couple years
from all the bugs, man. Oh my god.
Or just like the success of Red Dead Redemption 2 to the the failure of Fallout 76, which we'll talk about later, with their semi-redemption. But Anthem, just all that, like there's no reason to rush any things anymore, right? Because the fan base is to the point where it's like, if you rush it out and it sucks, you'll hear about it and you're going to lose
be thrashed.
It's way better to delay and get the game right.
And I think they know that, like, pretty much to exactly what you said. They know the fans are willing to wait. You know what I mean? Like, that's the one thing the past year or two has shown, is that fans are willing. If the game's going to be good, we are willing to wait. It doesn't, unless you're delaying by a whole year. When you throw out delays, people get a bit worried. But look, like, if you haven't announced the game, then you're in the clear. You know what I mean? Just don't announce the game until you're ready for the game. Like, look at
Anthem. Yeah, and look at Cyberpunk 2077. Like, they were just like, it's coming, it's coming, and even they delayed. But like I said, if it's for the better of the game, it's always video games are a different industry than something like movies, right? Because movies being delayed is a much more worrisome thing, because there's only so much you can do. Yes, there are reshoots. They've done things to maybe help fix movies, but you can only go so far. Where, like, video games, there's much more latitude, because of basically anything can be changed, right? Like, you can go back and change this, change that. Where movies, like, you've already shot the movie, you can only do so much. So video games, it makes a lot more sense.
True, yeah. I'm saying seeing delays for a video game is usually a good thing, and nowadays I'd say it's usually a good thing, because they're doing the delay for a reason, Of course there are some situations where if they delay a game, we know it's a bad reason, like if someone gets fired or anything like that, then but that's different. I'm glad they took their time with this one. I think it's going to be fantastic. They've really done a good job with the past two installments of Assassin's Creed games, and I think that this third one's going to be just as good. And yeah, I hope that they're able to kind of put it more together than Odyssey. Odyssey was amazing. Like I said, I am loving Odyssey, playing it right now, but it's just too big. There's too much stuff going on. I hope that they can, like, how do I explain? I'm trying to find a good word for this. I just hope that they can put it in a way that's, like, easier to tackle. You know what I mean? Rather than being overwhelmed by just side quests and quests to the point where you just don't know what to do.
All right. Let's talk about another game that was delayed, and then they were saying that the release date, they weren't sure when it was going to be, and now they have a new release date because of leaks. Last of Us Part 2. It's a new release date, June 19th, which is later than the original dates, but now earlier than we thought, because they were, like, going to delay because they want to do this big launch with the physical copies and the digital versions. But then things started leaking about the story and whatnot, and so they're like, we better get this out as soon as possible. So June 19th. What's your take on the whole thing?
I mean, look, man, Naughty Dog since 1998. I've been a big Naughty Dog fanboy, man. Literally ever since Crash Bandicoot, Naughty Dog could do no wrong with me. Same with the Uncharted series. It's also one of those things where, what else are we gonna do? Like, it's not like, I guess it's like, it is annoying having to wait, but at the same time, it's like, look, there's a global pandemic going on. Like, there's a lot of stuff going on. People are understandable. I'm not that fazed by it. Like, I'm happy to have a release date, like an actual release date. I'll be happy if they can stick to that. I understand that they want to release the game before it gets spoiled, which is so true, because if you get the game spoiled for you, you're not going to want to play it as much as as you would have before the time. So it's I think I'm ready for it, man. I'm looking forward to it. I'm not that bothered by the delay. I was bothered by the delay initially, but that was before all the lockdowns and stuff happened. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Now with all the lockdowns all around the world, it's an understandable thing that things are going to be delayed. Hell, I'm surprised that not more things have been canceled. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so I mean, it can only be good at this point in time. If they were ready to release it in January, like I mean, initially before they said they wanted to polish it, like what they've been polishing it for 2 months now. If I'm like 2 or 3 months, they've been polishing it, so it's got to be ready. You know what I mean? At this point, it's just tweaking. I guess they can't do as much polishing as they want because people are working remotely from home, and I'm sure that's difficult too to let people do their work from home because then you're risking the leaks that are like, I don't know if this is tied to the leaks, but it's so much easier for you to leak any kind of stuff about the game if people are using their home computers to work on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess, yeah, there was major leaks, plots, but I've been trying to avoid. That's why I don't know too much about this thing.
Same,
I'm
yeah.
just
I don't want to read it.
anything that says Last of Us Part 2. I'm just not trying to read too much about. In my update, I think I mentioned before that I was playing Last of Us Part 1. I've gotten past the part that I got stuck at on the PS3 with that bug where it wouldn't save my game, and now I passed that part, which is good. Now my problem is this. So I left my PS5 at the office
Oh
because,
no.
well, I left it there because I had remote play. I had played Death
Yeah.
Stranding that as well, and when I got home after I brought all my stuff back, I tested it out and it worked. Like I connected to it and it worked. And apparently, I guess my PS5 either got accidentally shut down, maybe there was a power outage at the office, or it went to sleep or something like that. But I cannot connect anymore, and I
Oh
haven't been
man,
back to
that
the office
sucks.
since. So now we have June 19th as a date. I probably will go to the office sometime in the next week or two to pick up the PS5 and then play Last of Us 2, just bring it here to play it. Yeah. So I'm, you know, currently playing Fallout 76 Wastelanders, which I think I should be done in the next couple weeks, and then I will try and, power through Last of Us, the remastered version, and then I did notice with the remastered version, it's remastered, but it's like only so much, right? Because they can't fix like the
Of
model.
course, yeah.
Like it's like sure the textures are a higher resolution, whatever, but it's not like the modeling is like suddenly better
Yeah.
improved.
No,
So you can
at most
you
they can change the textures and the shading, and that's about it.
yeah. So it's not like you can tell it's like in that in between stage of PS3 and PS4. It's not quite like a PS4 quality graphic game, So, it's, so that's my update on my Last of Us. So hopefully I can get through that and then be ready for the launch of the second one, part 2. So, like I mentioned before, most of my video game playing has been on a Fallout 76 Wastelanders. So, if everyone who has been listening before knows I love the Fallout franchise. Fallout 3 is one of my favorite games of all time. Love New Vegas. Fallout 4 was great. Fallout 76. Look, everyone knows I'm a Fallout fanboy. When Fallout 76 came out, I was not
I remember your
praising that game.
disappointment. I
Yeah,
remember your disappointment.
To put it lightly, I was very disappointed. The game had a lot of bugs in it. Also, the whole game itself just didn't seem to have any kind of purpose or what we wanted out of a Fallout Online game was something that you'd play with friends and go on missions together. And the way they set it up was like
exciting storyline,
Yes. And it didn't have any NPCs. There was there was a storyline, but it was like listening to holotapes and reading messages, and that was it. There was no purpose to it. You couldn't talk to anyone. And they fixed a lot of that. Look, Wastelanders is not a perfect game, but it is, one, it's a free update. And two, it solves a lot of the problems where it's like now there's There's a whole other storyline now. They have the old storyline still in there, but they fleshed it out more by putting NPCs in there. So luckily for me, because I was so disappointed in the game, I didn't really play it that much. So I never really got that far in the quest that they did have. And now that's fleshed out and made better. And now they have another side quest, which is like now the main quest, Wastelanders quest, and it's much, much bigger. And so now I'm doing both of them together, and I'm making it a much more fuller, complete game. Now I haven't really teamed up with anyone else to play some of the online components. I've seen people in the game, and they come up to me, and some people want to trade and whatnot. And I had left my microphone version of my headset back at the studio, which I'm going to go pick up when I go pick up my PS4. So maybe I'll test some of that out. But it's made the game like Fallout, like this is the way I put it. I bought the game for $60, right? And to me, that was like a waste of $60. Because I didn't get
at best it was a $20 game at the time.
At that time, I got maybe $5 worth of enjoyment out of it or whatever in my mind. Okay. Now with the Wastelanders coming out for free and downloading and playing it, do I feel like I got my $60 worth? No. But it's much, much closer. I think I've got $30 worth of entertainment out of it, So what is it selling for right now? Let me take a look.
I think it's still 60. I think it stayed 60 the entire time. I mean,
no way.
Initially, it's got to be $60, man. It's Bethesda. They love money. But the thing is, I know that it was on sale. It was on a lot of sales, obviously from its initial reaction to things. People were selling the game for dirt cheap. But last time I checked, the game was still $60 on the PS Store. Mind you, that was about a year ago. But
$16. $15
$16?
Yeah, $15 on Xbox One, $16 on PS4. I think you're gonna have to buy it, man.
I mean, for that price, yeah, I'll get it. Yeah,
honestly, it's worth that price. If you're a Fallout fan and you like Fallout 3, Fallout 4, New Vegas, what's interesting is they kind of went back to the old school way of doing the dialogue. So remember in Fallout 4, they changed it where you're talking, when you talk, it does kind of this like back and forth between your character and whoever you're talking to. And then your character had a voice. It went back to the old school Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas version where it's just, you have complete lines of dialogue that you just select and then they respond back to you. So before in Fallout 4, you would click on something and it would be a very vague version of what your guy says. And then they say it, you know what I mean? And it was just, and your character had a voice and everything. So they've changed it back. They've gone away from that Mass Effect style. And I think it's a welcome change back where you get that thing where you just, you're envisioning your own character's voice now, and you have more dialogue trees that you can go off on because it can be more detailed in the text. So that's a welcome change. Like I said, it's not perfect. There's still a lot of bugs in it. There's two things that I don't like compared to previous Fallouts. One is, okay, because it's online and you're playing in real time, you do not have you have VATS, but the VATS is like, it's just like you click on it and it just targets an area of the body of your enemy, but it's not real time, or sorry, it doesn't slow down time. It's still real time. So it's much more or less effective, right? In old Fallout, it would slow down time. You start choosing the body parts, or you could choose different enemies. You'd like, I'm going to shoot this guy for a second and then go over here. This form of VATS is not as successful, right? It's kind of like a broken version of VATS. Two, one of my favorite things to do in Fallout is to discover new areas, right? Like when you get the map, you only get to see on the map where you've been to and what you've discovered. In this one, the whole map is there. It's a giant map. It's a huge map with lots of places to go to, but you see everything. You know exactly where to go. So you don't have that sense of discovery with it, which I miss.
Yeah.
And it's one of my favorite things about Paul. But in terms of like the storyline, the interactions, yeah, much, much better. So I wish you had an Xbox, because then I tell you get an Xbox and then we could play online together. But you have a PS4. Still say it's worth it. $16. I would
mean,
say
from what I'm reading though, it seems like at least the people over at IGN, they said the questing as a party was a bad experience. They had more fun doing the quest solo.
uh-huh.
But then again, that's just
it's
one
not
person's experience. So
also it's definitely not complete. They said the problem is they don't. I guess in Elder Scrolls Online they have this, and they're talking about doing this for Fallout 76, which is they have the normalization of the equalization of levels. So right now, if you and me play together, my level guy is at 16 and you would be at 0 or 1 or whatever.
okay,
And
so it
you'd
would
fight.
find balance.
Yeah, they haven't done that yet for Fallout 76, but they've done that for Elder Scrolls Online. So right
Yeah.
now, like if we played together, we would fight the same enemies, and I would like destroy them, and you'd have a hard time with them. That'd be kind of the issue right now.
It seems like another thing worth mentioning for anybody who is, like me, probably going to buy the game this week and try it out for themselves. From what I'm reading, it seems like it's good to put off the Wastelander missions until you're a higher level, because apparently at some point in time, to get further in the Wastelanders, you reach a level cap of about, like, you have to be level 20 to get further or something. And at that point, the people just started doing the fetch quests again. And they said going from the Wastelanders missions to the fetch quests is so like disheartening. Like rather start by doing all the fetch quests till you're a high enough level to do the Wastelanders without having to worry about level caps or anything. So I think I'll probably end up doing that. Like I'll probably level myself up to level 20 before I start the Wastelanders campaign, or at least close by, because I don't want to do the Wastelanders campaign and find out I'm not high enough level to do the rest of it.
Yeah, I mean, I would recommend doing what I did, which was do both at the same time. And yes, I did hit that 20 level 20 cap where it's like, oh, I'm not there yet, and so I can't continue on with Wastelanders. But there's enough to do there on the side to like also help boost your level anyway. So I would recommend doing both. I would do the Overseer mission.
I mean, that seems like a good idea, because at this point in time, you're on level 16, you said, and level 20 is what you have to be to continue. So I feel like grinding 4 levels with the fetch quests and stuff can't be that bad, you know?
Yeah. So I would do both. And also the fetch quests, like I said, are a little more fleshed out now after this update, because they throw these NPC characters there into these quests to just make it seem there's just much more motivation to do them now than before, where listening just to holotapes, it just felt very empty. Now the world feels, look, obviously as Apocalypse, you need to have the world to feel empty, but the whole point of Fallout was to have that small glimmer of hope, right? To reconnect with people.
And those interesting characters, man. Those like really out there characters that you're gonna find in the Apocalypse. Like that's what I like about Fallout games, you know. And then so that's I'm glad that they finally brought the NPCs, and it seems like people are happy with the story missions that they give you. Like they're good missions. It's good. They're getting great reviews on that. The missions are great. They're obviously not the smartest NPCs. Apparently, you can pretty steal in front of them, and they won't even like bat an eye.
You can steal everything.
Yeah,
they weren't gonna fix that part of it, because originally there was no NPC, so it was like, of course you can take it. So they haven't gone back to every single NPC area and go, oh, you can't steal that, which I don't mind, because I'm just taking everything I can. The camp system is cool. So remember the camp system in Fallout 4?
I really enjoyed it. I liked all the DLC you got for it as well, that allowed you to like increase the land you could build on, and all the cool things. Like my favorite DLC. Sorry,
go ahead. Go ahead.
You go ahead. I was gonna say my favorite DLC for Fallout 4 essentially allowed me to create my own arena and have like death claws fight my NPC companions. It was so much fun. I created my own Thunderdome. It was great.
Yeah, I don't know how far it goes into that arena, but I do know that it's much more improved and you can do a lot more stuff with it. People are building like full-on houses and stuff. You can like put in like jukeboxes and your own Nuka-Cola machines, and
Atmosphere.
you can just you can put all the kinds of stuff in it. Also, it's portable. That's the thing. It's portable. It's a camp system, so it comes out of this little box. Everything comes out of this little box. So you build it in this place, and you're like, well, I want to move. You can just fold it up into the box, and you move the box somewhere else.
That's really cool, actually. That's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
So if you don't like this particular view of it,
by the way, have they adjusted any of the gameplay with regards to the nukes?
yes. So the nukes is like you can launch nukes, but you need like pieces of code. And that's what's cool about teaming up with other people. It's like you can have one piece and they can have another piece. And once you all have 4 pieces, you can launch nukes. And then nukes come down onto a certain area, destroy that area, and then it changes that whole area. And new monsters are created and the environments change based on the nuke. So that's what's fun about it.
Yeah, I would say that does look pretty sweet. That's the main thing that before the Wastelanders patch, that's the main thing that I was looking forward to is the nukes. But saying that, it looks like if they keep doing this whole free update and free expansion thing, which is similar to what No Man's Sky did, and from speaking from experience, No Man's Sky was such a disappointment. We all know that. But now, I mean, I play No Man's Sky now, and it's really fun. It's a really good survival game. It's still not what I was expecting from the game, but it's fun, and it's fun enough to play with your friends. And if you like survival games, you'll like this game. So I would love to see Fallout 76 get to the point that No Man's Sky is at, where people are now like, I'd be more than happy to buy No Man's Sky like over again. You know what I mean? And support them all over again. Initially I regretted my purchase, but now I am so happy that I like had a digital purchase so I could still play it after all these years, after all these expansions and stuff. So I really hope that they just keep coming at it and keep it. I mean, look, they've got a lot of microtransactions in Fallout 76.
Yeah.
So I'm going to assume that they have a long-term plan for this game, and they're going to keep updating it for years to come. And yeah, so hopefully it can only get more and more polished. You know, I'm definitely, for the price it's at right now, I'm definitely going to pick it up.
Yeah, I think
it's going to get to the point where it's going to get to that point eventually where the game's going to be good enough for them to raise the price again. You know what I mean? So I'd rather get it now while it's still cheap.
So for me, like I said, I think it's worth $30 now. However, some people might not. I think at least 20, right? 20 is still good.
Mm.
And at the price that it's at now, $15 for Xbox, $16 for PS, and you are a Fallout fan, I think it's definitely worth getting. Like I said, this is PR stuff for Bethesda. They're not making any money off of this, but they need to get people back into people's good graces so that they will buy the next one, right? Because Fallout 76 at launch was such a disaster, it lost a lot of faith. Now I see, like, because I'm looking at some of the things where these Fallout Wastelander ads are popping up, and this is, like, again, a free update. If you own it, they're giving it to you for free, and if you buy the copy, you can just download it for free. The funny thing is, then you have these idiots going like, I'm not giving Bethesda 1 more cent for anything, blah, blah, blah. It's like, it's free. Like, you can download it for free and play it. Now, if you play it and you don't like it, that's fine. You can still say it sucks and you lost money or whatever. That's fine. But they're not making any more money off of you. It's free. And 2, like, you're not even giving it a chance. You should, if you paid the $60 for the game, like I said, I don't feel like I got my $60 worth, but I feel like I've gotten half of that back, from the enjoyment I've gotten from playing this. And so if you are a Fallout fan and you are burned by Fallout 76, I say give it a try. You have nothing to lose because you already bought the game.
Especially if you still own it. Yeah.
And if you are a Fallout fan and you never bought it, or maybe you bought it and then you sold it because it sucked, I think it's worth the $15, $16 for you to buy it and download Wastelanders and play. Like I said, it's not as good as the other stuff because it is kind of piecemealed together of the other previous Fallout games, but it is back to that Fallout feeling again, and it's definitely worth it. And so, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, all things considered as well, they can only do so much polishing while working on their next big IP, because we all know that they're working on Starfield. Like, they might be working on the next Elder Scrolls game, but I'm pretty sure they're working more on their new IP Starfield than they would be on the next Elder Scrolls game. So until they, I mean, it's also one of those things where they got to get their fan base back before their next IP comes out, you know? Like,
Yeah.
I'm probably going to buy Starfield because I'm just hella excited for it. But I feel like not as many people are going to be willing to buy Starfield or the next Elder Scrolls game because of the bad taste they have in their mouth.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially from the Bethesda store. Like, that's a bit of a money grab, but it's been made better. Like, the prices are a bit better now. It's just cosmetic stuff. You don't have to spend the money on the cosmetics if you don't want to. You know, no one's forcing you to buy the stuff. You know.
No, and so far I haven't spent any money on the cosmetic stuff, but I did have credit in there because when I bought I had pre-ordered the Fallout 76 game, they had given me some free credit, and so I bought a Nuka-Cola stash box. So you can buy a lot of cool themed stuff in there, and I looked in there, and there are some other stuff. So maybe I will buy. See, I don't mind paying for cosmetic stuff. What I don't like about microtransactions is when it's like people buying weapons that are help you be better at the game or give you an advantage, because then you're just buying an advantage over somebody else, right? Or even just an advantage in the game. But cosmetic stuff, that's fine as long as it's reasonably priced, you know. So maybe I'll buy some cosmetic stuff later on to support their I still think Fallout First was a bad idea. That whole thing where it's like you got to pay like $9.99 a month to.
Yeah, that was horrible, man.
They still have it going on where, like, if you want your own private server, because right now, like, if I hop on and play a game, I can't play a game just by myself. There's like other people in that world, and there's nothing I can do about it. But it really doesn't really bother you that much. You run across people once in a long while, and that's it. And so if you want to play with your friends, like, you know, it's not that big a deal to play on an open server versus a private server. And
I mean, look, usually private servers cost money anyways. Like, if you're looking at, I mean, I know some people are going to argue against me and be like, no, you can make private servers for free on most games, but it's like any bigger game or resource heavy game, they're not going to they're not going to let you just use the servers to create your own private server. You know what I mean? They need that server space for the people that are playing. But if you're like, I think of even like Minecraft, you know, you can host your own Minecraft server, but it's a pain in the ass, and if you don't have the resources to do it, it's going to be better for you to go online and pay someone else to host your Minecraft server. So I get it. If you're hosting your own private servers, it's something you're probably going to have to pay for. But it was all the extra stuff that people were complaining about. I don't know. I see this as a win. I see Wastelanders as a win. Haven't played it yet. Looking forward to play it.
It's a PR win, definitely, for sure.
Yeah.
A lot of positive reviews coming from people who have played it, including myself and bigger outlets. So it did. Obviously, it's not going to fix all the problems. It's not going to fix all the PR issues. I mean, that's the problem with PR problems. Once you have one big thing, that's what people remember from you. You know, like, it takes a long time for those things to fade away, and it also takes. It takes Bethesda hitting it out of the ballpark with the next Elder Scrolls, hitting it out of the ballpark with the next Starfield, and probably hitting it out of the park with the next Fallout, right? Then you were like, okay, I'm back on Bethesda's team. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I actually played. I love MOBAs, and there was a MOBA that Bethesda. I don't think they made the MOBA, but they like funded it. It's called Genesis, and it was not good as far as MOBAs go. They were trying to make a MOBA for console because there's no MOBAs on console except for Smite and a couple of other type of things. But I don't know. I mean, I did enjoy the game, but no one was playing it. And if no one's playing it, there's no one to play against. You're playing against bots, and it's not that fun. So Bethesda needs a win, that's for sure. And I don't know, like we said, I think they saved some face with this, and let's just hope they keep doing that.
Let's say like they needed a home run, right? I think they hit like a double, maybe a triple. That's my feeling on probably a double. They hit a double where it was like,
yeah,
you did some good work. and he definitely won back some fans. So, all right, let's move on. You know, we mentioned this before. We had E3 was canceled. That was a while. That was like earlier in April. They announced that, and they're not having the one thing they're not doing is they're not doing an online replacement for the event, which I would found surprising. I guess each individual company is just going to do their own releases. Like I'm sure Xbox is going to do their own Xbox Series X event, online event. We just had Ubisoft do their own Assassin's Creed Valhalla event. You know what I mean? So I think each individual company is going to do their own online stuff to announce their future consoles, gaming, hardware, and all that stuff. But there's not going to be one big E3 thing. And I guess it kind of makes sense because remember, there's rumblings about even before the coronavirus that just like the whole with Jeff Keighley and like a bunch of other issues happening with what was happening with
Sony not being there for like the second year. Like and I've voiced my opinion on this a few times on this podcast. So if anybody's been listening to this podcast for a while, they know that I think E3 has been trash since 2016. I think since 2016, every year since then, it's just been getting in a steady decline. So like, I mean, look, I think it makes sense that it's canceled, obviously, but to not do like an online replacement event seems silly. Like it doesn't have to be as big of an event, you know what I mean? Like obviously you're not going to have Sony and a couple of things, but you can still represent a couple games. Like, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like I guess that won't be as profitable for them. They're only going to be running off of like the ad revenue and things like that from the streams. But I'm not bothered, man. E3 has just been so horrible the past couple of years. I'm just not that phased by it. And to be honest, like I knew it wasn't going to happen this year, but I don't think it's going to happen next year either. And, like I genuinely don't. If E3 happens next year and it's good, I'll be so surprised. Like I feel like the chances of E3 happening next year and being good is about as good as us getting a vaccine before the end of the year. You know,
yeah.
Like it's not going to happen unless a miracle happens.
Yeah. Speaking of other events, the summer GDC is also going to be it's going to be online only. So unlike E3, it's still happening, but it's online only.
Which I mean, like, look, you obviously anybody who's going from doing an actual in-person event to switching to online, you're going to lose a lot of money, which sucks. So I think it's good for us as gamers and consumers to really support by watching their streams, you know what I mean? Or like not watching someone else's stream of them, but the actual stream from GDC, you know? Mm-hmm. So I think setting things like that in place would be good. I'm looking forward to it. Usually, obviously, having been born and raised in South Africa, I usually have to watch these events online anyways. Mm-hmm. It's the only way that I can ever experience these events. And that's usually the case for most people living in Africa and other regions where we don't have these cool events, you know? So I think it'll be cool. And also you get a lot more control when you're doing an online show, you know? Like less flukes and blunders are going to happen. You're still live. You're going to have a couple mistakes, or I don't know, maybe they'll choose not to be live and do something pre-recorded, you know, like thinking from the production side of things, my filmmaker brain is thinking, I'm like, should probably pre-record things so that there's no accidents and you can fix things in post and really deliver like a high end, like quality content for the event.
Yeah.
That'd be quite cool.
All right. Cool. This one is a rumor. This is based on some stuff people were talking to developers for the PS5. So take it with a grain of salt. This doesn't necessarily mean this is true or not, or maybe it's something that will be fixed. But apparently that there were some concerns over the Sony's PlayStation 5 having some issues in terms of overheating. And not being able to maintain the clock speeds, and just some issues with the actual hardware design.
They related it to the heating issues. They related it to the Xbox 360, which I really hope that this is not like. I really hope this isn't real, because if it's true that it has heating issues similar to the Xbox 360, that is not good. Mm-hmm. That is really not good.
Yeah, I guess apparently the rumor is that Sony had heard the specs that Microsoft was going to do, and so they wanted to match them. But I don't know what the issues were in terms of like maybe they underestimated what Microsoft was going to do, or maybe they're trying to put it into a design that's maybe looks cool or more ergonomic, or I don't know, thinner. Because if you look at the Xbox Series X, like we mentioned before, it's humongous. It's huge. It looks like a mini PC tower.
It
Now,
basically is, yeah.
to me,
I can't believe it's not modular.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe it will be. But my thing is I don't care, because once I put my Xbox in an area, to me, it's like gone. You know what I mean? Like, as long as I find one spot for it, that's it. And I don't really care. I mean, as long as it's not monstrous, which, yes, the Xbox Series X looks a little bigger a little fatter than you would want, but it's not to the point where it's like, oh my God, this is taking up too much space. So,
I wonder, I mean, if this is true, I wonder if the design issue lies in the vents and how they're doing their venting system. Because obviously the Xbox design, you can clearly see that the vents are above it, and it's pretty well vented from the designs you're looking at least, you know? So, I mean, that could be it. But it's also like, if this is true, wouldn't this be based off of the dev kit that people have been using?
Yeah.
Which means it could be all subject to change with I mean, it's unlikely, but if an issue arises with the dev kit, if you've given the PS5 dev kit to a bunch of studios, and you see problems with it, chances are you're probably going to fix your product before releasing it. You know what I mean? But then again, with the current climate, the political climate, and things going on in the world, who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? Well, once again, like we said, take it with a grain of salt. This could all be fake. Could also be real. You know, we really never know.
Or it could be real and they fix it by the time it comes out. I guess it's kind of. Yeah. I think what gives this more, I won't say weight. Weight is the wrong word, because we don't know if it's true or not. But it just gives it more, stokes more the conspiracy theories. Is just that Sony has been very tight-lipped about the PS5. You know what I mean? Compared to the Xbox.
Very quiet.
If they're supposedly coming out around the same time, we are getting way more information with the Xbox Series X than we are with the Sony PS5.
I mean, but to be fair, correct me if I'm wrong here, which I possibly am. I know Microsoft is an American company, whereas Sony is an Asian company.
Yeah, it's a Japanese company.
So I don't know if they're probably dealing with a lot more problems that side, knowing the infection rates in Japan. I mean, obviously, like the infection rates
US ain't doing bad. Yeah, US ain't doing that great either.
But I know Japan's been struggling since January, so who knows? But I mean, then again, even last year they were very quiet about their plans and stuff. Whereas Xbox has been very open. They've been doing great marketing, which is why I think that they're going to win the next console wars, because they've done the most PR and the most marketing.
Dude, every console war generation, it just changed.
Flips.
Have we gotten any that won 2 in a row? Like,
no.
I'm trying to think since the time of like.
I guess PlayStation 1 and then PlayStation 2, but only because I think the Xbox came out at the same time as the PS2.
Those are,
but that's because they didn't have the PlayStation didn't have a rival. That's the reason why. There was no Xbox at the time, as far as I'm aware. Like, Xbox came out around the same time as PS2, if not like maybe a year or two earlier. But no, it's always been that way. Like, I mean, PS2 smashed the records, obviously completely dominated the console war back when it came out. I mean, there wasn't really a console war at the time, but then the PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, Xbox 360 dominated, even with the Red Ring of Death. It just sold much better than the PS3. It also had a much better controller, in my opinion. And then the PS4 obviously killed the console wars there, because it was $100 cheaper, and it didn't have the Kinect and all these things you didn't really care about. Also had better exclusives. So I don't know. I'm a huge Sony fanboy. I'm a big PlayStation fanboy. I hope they don't drop the ball, but I'm leaning towards getting an Xbox for the next gen consoles.
Yeah, I mean, it really depends. I mean, it's with all these new exclusive games, it's almost like you have to get both, because it's like, well, if you're a fan of Outer Worlds 2 is only going to be on the Xbox Series X.
That's true.
if you're a fan of Uncharted, your only way you're gonna get Uncharted is on the PS5. You know what I mean? So that's why I told you the future of gaming is going to be this kind of online Xbox Gamer Pass, Google Stadia. It's just Google Stadia is not.
We've also seen a lot of over the years. We've also seen a lot of exclusives moving from being exclusives to being on all platforms. Like I think the Final Fantasy that was always a Sony exclusive. Now it's on PC, Xbox, everything. You know.
Yeah, but back then it made more sense, right? Because back then all the JRPGers were on Sony PlayStation, right? Like if you were a JRPG fan, you would have a PlayStation. So the amount of people, yes, there were some people that would buy it on an Xbox, but nowadays it's not that. JRPGs aren't as niche as before. Like now it's just like anime, right? Anime used to be much more niche before, and now it's much more of a mainstream thing. So it's just one of those things where the exclusives now are more like only first party games. So
yeah. All right. Well, I guess moving on.
Yeah.
We first look at Xbox Series X third-party games.
Yeah, next week. So we're finally gonna
May 7th.
Which we're finally gonna take a look at, and then I'm
Oh,
sure
2 days from now for me.
Huh?
Hold
2
on,
days
this
from you?
cannot be
No.
right.
Your calendar's messed up. You ain't that far in the future.
No, my calendar is messed up. It says it's the 2nd of May right now. That's not right.
Oh no, it is.
Oh wait,
It is.
no.
So
Oh
this
my
is the
gosh.
7th of May.
Sorry, my bad. No. I'm so used to living in America. I forgot that now that I'm back in South Africa, we flipped the day. We flipped the month and the days.
Yeah. There you
So
go.
I thought it was the 5th. I thought it was the 5th. Yeah.
Okay.
I was like, oh wow. But then I see here it's on Thursday. I was like, wait, 2 days from now isn't Thursday.
So a week from now, we'll see third-party games. Get to see what they look like, and then I don't know. Did they say a week or two after that the first-party games will be shown off?
I mean, it seems like May the 7th is when they're going to start showing off the third-party games, and then
the only confirmed game is Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll see more. I don't see a date though for after that, but we'll be sure to see more in the weeks after that event. You know, Battlefield 6, Godfall, Gods and Monsters, Outriders, which I'm wearing the Outriders hoodie right now. Thank you, Outriders, for keeping me warm during this winter. I'm really looking forward to Outriders when that finally comes out because me and Dorian had so much fun playing that game, Dennis.
Nice. Yeah, it looked fun. I'm a big fan of co-op games. Big fan of that. Let me see here. So that's coming up soon. We also have Google Stadia, like I mentioned before, is now free for players with an active Gmail account. Before it used to cost you. They had the Google free, and now it's like, okay, now you can play Google Stadia with 1080p 60 FPS for free. You know, Google Stadia is something that's kind of, I do believe, is the future of gaming. And when I say future of gaming, I don't mean Google Stadia in particular. I'm just talking about this type of
streaming in general.
Game streaming, where you need all the computing power will be on the server end, and you're just getting a stream of what you're playing. And I feel like that will you'll still have like a quote unquote console, but it'll be more like a streaming type console where it's only like $100, right? And you get this thing that streams, and also a controller, which, by the way, we forgot to mention the PS5 controller, which people were saying looks very similar to the Xbox controller.
Oh yeah. I don't know how I feel about it. I mean, I like the way it looks. Don't get me wrong. I actually really like the way it looks, but I'm more worried about the buttons. Mm-hmm. Like, this sounds like a very weird thing to have a complaint about, but it just doesn't look like it's satisfying to press the buttons. Like, they look like I mean, maybe it's just from the pictures that I saw, but they don't look like they're sticking out as much. They look like they're like more in there. Like, I want a button to stick out. I want to actually like push the button in, you know? And it didn't really look like that. I do like the way it looks though. I think it looks great. White, horrible idea to make it white though, because you're going to be your hands are dirty. What gamer has clean hands? You know, you're gonna that thing's after a week, that thing's gonna be gray. It's gonna be gray or green or nasty, covered in hot Cheetos. So I don't know how I feel about. I'm sure you'll obviously be able to get it in different colors, et cetera, et cetera. I like the lighting changes that they made to the controller. Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, I'm happy with that. I just hope that the buttons stick out a bit more. I don't. There's not a better way for me to say what I'm trying to say, but hopefully some people will know what I'm talking about. Like the satisfaction of clicking a good button. I'm worried it doesn't have that.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to kind of a bunch of other stuff in general that's been happening, more like phenomenon stuff, like the Animal Crossing phenomenon. I don't have a Switch, but apparently like this is like the biggest thing happening right now.
The memes are crazy, man. And it's like, I actually tried to get a Switch before the lockdown because I knew playing Animal Crossing during this time would be good for my mental health. And it was just I couldn't get a Switch anywhere in the country, like anywhere in my country. You know, they were sold out, and like they've been sold out for months apparently everywhere I was looking. I could get one secondhand, but then I didn't want to play around. It was also like the day before lockdown, so I was kind of rushing around. I wish I had a Switch that I could be playing Animal Crossing right now. I've been playing Stardew Valley because a lot of people who have played Animal Crossing have recommended for me to play Stardew Valley, which you can play on pretty much anything. You know, you can get it on your phone as well. I think it's like 14 or 15 bucks on your phone. Man, and it looks relaxing. Like everyone's playing it. Like PewDiePie did a video of him playing it, and he thought it was stupid. PewDiePie watched his wife play the game, and he literally said to his wife, he's like, "This is stupid. No one's gonna play this." And then obviously the game blew up. The whole world started playing it, and then he started playing it. And he's like, "This game is freaking amazing," and it's just calming.
There's two things that blew up during the quarantine. One was Animal Crossing. The other was Tiger King. Like the two things.
Yeah, Tiger King and Animal Crossing. It's everywhere, man. It's I'm so upset that I'm not playing Animal Crossing. I was looking forward to that game for months as well. And we don't usually cover a lot of Nintendo games on this channel. So that's one of those things that I was looking forward to talking about and being able to possibly review and play.
I mean, there's plenty of that. You can buy the game easily. It's the console that you can't get.
Exactly. Right? I've been struggling to get a Switch, man. But from what I've been told from all my friends who are playing it, they said that it has been really good. It's been really good for their mental health. It's been good for their anxiety. It's been helping them calm down because it's a very peaceful game. It's a very peaceful game. So I see it as a win for everyone. Like anybody playing the game, it's good for it's just good. It's good for your mental health. It's good for your peace of mind. It's grounding. I've never seen a game do this much good in people's lives. You know, like it's a video game. I know people enjoy playing video games, but like I've never seen it impact people's lives so positively before in this way. So it's really relieving to see that. The memes have been great, like I said. But I'm just so happy seeing people happy because of a video game, you know, and oh man, being able to share your little world with your friends and go visit your friends' places, and it's a nice way to socially distance while being social. So that's good. And then Final Fantasy VII did great, if you're a gamer, if you're watching this, then you know Final Fantasy VII hit it out of the park. They did a fantastic job. Me and Dorian were able to play the game at the studios in the beginning of the year and played the game about a month before it came out, and it was amazing then. I haven't played the game now because I currently don't have the money to buy the game. But from everybody who has played the game, they said it's phenomenal and they enjoyed every single moment of it. I'm just reading now that apparently through some sort of glitch, you can actually play as Red 13. Because I remember talking to the people at Square Enix asking them, like, is Red 13 playable? And they didn't know, they couldn't tell me. But it seems like someone was able to play as Red 13 through some sort of glitch, was able to make Red 13 playable. So that's quite exciting. I am kind of leaning towards possibly only getting the game after all four parts have come out, which is probably not going to be for years. But I know me. I'll end up playing Final Fantasy VII, the remake. And I mean, I had some worries when I played the game at the studio and they threw me into Chapter 10. And for me, Chapter 10 in Part 1, back then I didn't know they were doing it in parts. I speculated that, but I didn't confirm that. So when I was playing Chapter 10, I was like, this is either there's going to be a lot of chapters in this game, or the spacing is weird, because I was like, Chapter 10 is still relatively in the beginning of the game. for me in the overall story of Final Fantasy VII. So I don't know. If I play the game, I'm going to finish it, and I'm going to want part 2 so badly that I'm going to go back to the original, and I'm going to replay the original, and then and I've been avoiding replaying the original just so that I can experience the story again properly, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. Maybe I'll get it, maybe I won't get it. The internet out here has been horrible. I don't know what my face cam looks like on YouTube right now, but downloading 100 gigs on my current line takes about 3 days. It took me 3 days to download Assassin's Creed Odyssey. About 3.5 days to download that, which is also why I haven't played Warzone yet. I want to play Warzone so badly, but I know that I have to set aside 3 days of downloading it and not doing anything else online to let it download, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it's great. Everyone's been loving it, and it's just, the game is so beautiful. Like, the lighting is amazing. The atmosphere is great. I do really want to play it, but I don't know. Maybe when part 2 comes out, because at least part 1 and part 2 together will be like a nice chunk for me to sink my time into.
Mm-hmm. All right. Apex Legends. You had some news on that one?
Apex Legends job listing points to the next gen release. So, I mean, I knew that Apex Legends was going to be on the next gen because it's one of those games that's going to be around for a while, just like Fortnite. It's going to be a very competitive game. There's going to be a lot of competitions around it. So I knew it was going to come out there, but I thought they would have just ported the game. But the fact that they actually have job listings means that they're going to be doing a next gen release, which that's going to be really exciting. To see. I mean, the game already looks pretty damn good on PS4. I'd love to see what it looks like on the next gen. So it's nice that that's been confirmed for the Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5. And it should obviously work with previous versions of the game too, which makes sense. Like if you're on like the upgraded version of the game on PS5, you can still play with people on PS4, which would make sense to me. So that was cool. One of the other things that happened recently is the Travis Scott Fortnite event, which actually I got to do, and I really enjoy these Fortnite events that they did. I love the Star Wars one where they gave us a sneak peek at the next Star Wars movie, and then. I mean, J.J. Abrams was there. It was a great thing. He was talking to me in the game as himself, as his own character. It was fantastic. And then obviously they flew away with all the spaceships. And then after their event, they gave us lightsabers. We all beat each other up. It was great. Fortnite's always doing these good live events. They did one with Marshmello a long time ago, but this event they did with Travis Scott makes me so excited for future events in Fortnite. Granted, I'm not a very big Travis Scott fan. I'll go as far as to say, I don't care if I get hate for this. I think he's a very average rapper. Like, he's not bad, but he's not amazing. But the event was it was so cool, Dennis. Like, everyone was there, right? And we were all on the stage waiting for it to happen. You see this kind of world floating through the sky, coming closer to you. And then you see a comet coming around the map in front of you, around the stage in front of you, and it bursts and it turns into Travis Scott. But he's like a giant. He's like freaking Godzilla compared to you. He's huge, and he's walking all over the map, doing his dance moves, rapping. It was so sick, and the event went on for a while. After it even threw you into the air. It did this thing where you were floating around watching him. It did this thing where the coolest thing for me was it did this thing where it created a digital land above the ground. It literally looked like those 80s synthwave kind of grid land. And you were standing on that, and they kept flipping the plane. Every time they did a new bar, they would flip the plane, and you would slide left or you'd slide right. They did a thing where you were in space. It was just, if you haven't seen it yet, look up the event. It's about 10 minutes long, and it was fantastic, man. And I think it's a good idea because Travis Scott's already super famous, but having done this, Travis Scott having done this event has now just found a whole new target, a whole new audience with the younger demographic. You know what I mean? Much younger kids are now listening to Travis Scott because of this, or they're more aware of his presence. I'm just excited to see what's going to be in the future. Good PR move on Epic and Travis Scott. I genuinely can't wait for their next live event, which is going to be probably only next year. These things don't happen very often. They take a lot of planning goes into them. Yeah. But it's just, and I think I haven't seen anyone besides Fortnite do this, but it's going to get to the point where eventually a lot of these battle royale games or any of these games that are going to be around for years, they're going to probably be doing live events in game as well. That would be the smart move, at least. Like if Apex Legends did a live in-game event, that would be freaking cool too. If they were gonna announce like the next Titanfall 3, the best way to announce Titanfall 3, in my opinion, would be to just have a Titan show up in Apex Legends during a game. And like that would be like the reveal. That'd be cool. So that was tight. Another small thing to add that's not really that entertaining for most people is that 2K is doing an arcade style WWE game, 2K Battlegrounds, which I loved the previous like Battlegrounds type of games that they've done, where it's like the NBA one I really enjoyed, where it's the people like the big heads, cartoony kind of looking athletes. This looks fun. I don't play wrestling games. I'm not, since I was much younger, I haven't enjoyed a wrestling game, but it looks fun. It looks silly, and there's a bit of fun with the silliness, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah. All right. I think that's it on our list. You got any parting thoughts or what you've been playing? I already talked a lot about what I've been playing, which is Fallout 76. My next thing after that, I mentioned finishing Last of Us, and then after that, Last of Us Part 2, hopefully, and then after that, probably maybe finish Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
Yeah, I'm currently playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey, loving it. I don't know how far I'm in the game, but I mean, like I said, the game is massive. So
it's huge.
I also have all the DLC, and I'm looking forward to that because the DLC for Assassin's Creed Odyssey looks sick. I want to go to Atlantis. Atlantis is one of the DLCs, and that looks, can't wait for that. I know, by the way, people watching, I'm aware that I can start a whole separate game just to do that, but I want to play from the beginning till that point. I don't want to be given a character that's leveled out and ready for that campaign. So a lot of Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I've been playing Minecraft, a lot of Minecraft, just to like calm me down, because like Minecraft is a very peaceful game. I love the music in Minecraft. I actually listen to Minecraft music outside of Minecraft to sleep and to relax sometimes. So I've been playing a lot of Minecraft alone, not socially, like kind of been isolating myself within the game. That's been fun. A lot of Fortnite, a lot of Apex Legends. And yeah, I think I'm trying to oh yeah, I played Devil May Cry 5 again because I had so much fun with it. I've been playing so many video games. I have so much free time. It's gotten to the point where I can't wait to do something besides play video games. And I never thought I'd actually say that before in my life. I can't wait to do something else.
All right. Well, sounds good. Well, maybe we can do another one of these next week or so and catch up on it. Let me know if you end up getting Fallout 76.
For sure.
Play Wastelanders. I want to see what your take is on the whole thing. All
right. Hell yeah.
All right. Cool. Where can people find you?
You guys can find me on Instagram at josh.toki, and you guys can find me on Twitch at josh_toki. I'm obviously not streaming right now because I don't have equipment, but hopefully in the next week or two, I should go back to streaming. And yeah, so for the most part, you guys can find me, I guess, right here on this podcast.
And you guys can find me on Twitter at ThinkHero, Instagram, Dennis.tzng. Make sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel, youtube.com/collidergames. Also subscribe to our podcast feed. That's the Collider Factory feed, where you'll find this podcast, hopefully on a more regular basis. We just kind of had craziness going on, and things are starting to, even though we're still under lockdown, things are finally calming down to where everyone's got their routine now. Because before it was like, how do I get food? No one's serving me food. Like I can't get food. I gotta get.
Also, there wasn't much to talk about if you think about it. Like, there's been some stuff to talk about for the past week and a half, but before that, there wasn't really much gaming news.
Yeah.
Because the whole most people for like a month just came to a standstill. Nothing.
Also, I looked. May doesn't have any huge games coming out for any of the systems. So. Not till the next big game will probably be The Last of Us Part 2 in June.
June, yeah.
All right, guys. Until next time. I'll see you guys later.
See you later.